frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, turn it up. Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, turn it up. Real FM, ride the frequency. Something.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Those our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and any part of the world that you have the opportunity to listen to us. Welcome to our program. On this program, we make no rules. We encourage people to be respectful to one another, to be tolerant to each other's opinion. And we believe in the democratic process. That is very important. There are those who will always come and try to convince us that democracy is not a good thing. Maybe it's not the most perfect system in the world, but I think it's the best system in the world. It's a system that gives you an opportunity periodically to change the government if you don't agree with the government. It's a system that provides the most freedom of the press. It's a system where you have the most individual freedom. And you have recourse. If you reach a point, an impasse, you have recourse. It's a system that advocates for the independence of the judiciary, for freedom of the press. And that is important. When you have leadership in a country that dictates what goes on in the judiciary and silence the press, crap or smoke your pipe without tobacco. When they had the massive execution in Tournament Square, there was no independent investigation. In any democratic country, there would have been an investigation. In Cuba today, we have several hundred or thousands of people that are political prisoners still 60 years after the so-called revolution. The press is not free in Cuba, and trade union is not free to practice, and the judiciary operates at the whim and fancy of the government. There's a lot of us in Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean that like to flex the muscle and propagate communism. And you must recognize that you, the ordinary man, are the custodians of democracy. And when things not going well, you have a voice. If I was in China, Russia, Iran, Cuba, you would not have heard my voice. I might have been in jail in Siberia, or the Chinese might have had me where they have a lot of Falun Gong people. Today, I want to advocate that charges be laid against Dick Mitchell, the Prime Minister of Grenada, the ordinary man are the custodians of democracy, and I believe we should lay charges against Deacon Mitchell. 5 charges. 1, for inciting violence in the country. I believe it could be proven that Deacon Mitchell and his group is deliberate and maliciously inciting violence. It's difficult to understand because you don't know what they hope to achieve by it. If it is one isolated incident, you see. But I believe we must look for 12 incidents that could directly link Deacon Mitchell and the members of his government for inciting violence. Charge number 1. Charge number 2, corruption. And we must get 12 clear incidents, instances, when we are convinced this was done because of corruption. The third one, there is a third party directing our foreign policy. The government has been extremely quiet on that. But there are activities taking place that the Prime Minister has not directed, the Cabinet has not directed, and yet people are directed to go that course. So we are convinced there is a third party directing our foreign policy. This is unacceptable. 50 years after independence, we fought for independence. Eric Gary said brimstone and fire. And 50 years after, to have a third party influencing, directing your foreign policy is an abomination. It's unacceptable. It's not right. And the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, and his cabinet must answer for it. Number 4, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell, has told more lies and very impactful lies to this country than any other Prime Minister or politician that has ever passed. In fact, we are convinced, if you add up all the lies politicians said since 1967, Deacon has told more, he and his team. And I believe we should find 12 instances, at least 12, blatant lies that has been told by this pathological and compulsive liar, so that we could try Deacon. The 5th one, squandering public funds. The action taken by the government is nothing short of a blatant act of squandering public funds. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, caller, welcome.
You're on a good note, but I want to interfere that new ball today.
Well, go right ahead.
Now, you made a very good point about inciting violence, because once you divide a country, once a leader divide a country, anything could happen. That means he separate the people, separate his own people, NDC against NNP. So that's a good note. And all the other notes. But I want to advocate, because these days are getting regular attack from those activists of the NDC. A lot these days they're attacking me, but I'm happy for it. That means they listen to your program. They come in and ask, I use the man of the deal, Mr. Pierre, use it. I feel good about it because they cannot answer to what I asking them. So I feel good. But before I close, let me advocate that Mrs. Pierre spent 21 years with me into the politics of this country. She have all the criteria, what it takes to be a leader. She passed through the training school. Imagine that. Good trainers. She always said that I was one of those who recommend her in the holidays when she become the candidate for this. But this lady developed so quickly into politics. She passed me by far. I was wondering how she learned so quick. So she did not get her back on this stadium. I told the NNP right and Grenadians, she is over capable. She could handle the affairs of Grenada, Carriacou and Pidimapec. I have no doubt. And I want good for my country. So I'm asking the NDC people, stop attacking Dr. Mitchell in all discussion. Whenever I talking to them, they say, Dr. Mitchell used to do that and he used to do that before. I ask them to stop. You know why? Mrs. Pierre is able. She chest is broad enough to handle any question they want to ask her. She is not one that's going to say on a need-to-know basis. She will answer anything. So I don't know why. Everything you ask, they talk about. Dr. Mitchell used to do that. Leave Dr. Mitchell alone. He get a capable leader. He get a capable replacement. Grenadians, home and abroad, I'm warning you. This thing about Dr. Mitchell, it's time for us to drop it. Deal with Miss Pierre. I know she can handle herself. Deal with Mr. Pierre. I rest my case, although I will be always advocating because that's meeting me up on a daily basis. I thank you.
Yes, squandering public funds. I don't take that lightly. A lot of sacrifice was made by workers in this country, by businessmen, and by the ordinary man to put this country finance on a sound footing. The International Monetary Fund involvement in Grenada was at the invitation of the government. We had a structural adjustment program where government felt it was necessary to retrench workers. A lot of young people were retrenched. Teachers, public officers, nurses got retrenched. Some of them in their 20s. Some of them come out from university and a name fall on the list. We squandered talents and opportunities. We cut social program. We introduced the debt service levy in Grenada. And sacrifice had to be made on 3 occasions. We introduced legislation for economic discipline. And to sit down and watch a group of individuals leading the government and squandering the public funds as if they inherit money and they're on coke or they're on drugs. The National Democratic Congress led by Deacon Mitchell, is behaving as if they're on drugs, as if they're on coke, as if the money that they're using, the parents leave it for them, and the parents rich. They are squandering this country funds. This must be the concern of all and sundry. But more than anything else, it must be the concern of the ordinary man. Always remember, it's the ordinary man that is affected most. Sometimes people tell me about the trade union. The trade union in Grenada is powerful. They have the ability to lobby, coerce, and force government to take position that is not in the interest of the ordinary man. And nothing is wrong with that, because they are a lobby group and they negotiate and lobby on behalf of everybody. Sometimes you have to see this country as a cake, a small cake, and different sector of the public lobby the government for the biggest slice of the cake. And if the government is not part of the philosophy, not part of the DNA to seek the interests of those who don't have the power to lobby, crap or smoke with pipe. This government, the NDC government, does not seek the interests of everybody. So the trade union could handle themselves, not to waste time bothering with them. The Chamber of Commerce could handle itself, and both of them have representation at the highest level in Parliament. The Bar Association is the best legal minds in the country, and they're powerful, and they normally seek the interests of their own, so don't worry them. The medical doctors in Grenada, they are needed like hot bread. They are represented by union. They have a bargaining agent, but they themselves are powerful lobbies. The ordinary man, the domestic worker, the imani, the people involved in debushing, the vendors on the street, the people on drugs, the unemployed, the borderline vagrants, the farmers in the lower income group, they are the ones that we have to consider as ordinary people. I like to quantify it in economic terms. If your income is $3,000 or less, you poor, you ordinary, you vulnerable, you need help. It doesn't matter if you flex your shoulder and you could speak English more than the Queen. You're poor and you're ordinary. And this is the ordinary people of the country most concerned with the squandering of public funds. The trade union would say, if they are squandering public funds, ability to pay is not a problem. So once I get my share, I don't have to complain about what they're doing. The Chamber of Commerce and businessmen in the country, they want three basic things from a government. They do not want unburdensome taxes. So every time NDC come in power, the big businessmen lobby NDC to drop the tax. In 2008, 2013, NDC did that as soon as they come. And you know, in 2022, they did it again immediately. That you must have an independent judiciary. And you have freedom of the press. The businessmen like an enabling environment. The environment to make money must be conducive. And the government normally provide that for them. So they don't have to bother. If the government remove $150 from the elderly, if the government take out money from those who can pay to go to school, if the schools, they cannot supply the school with lunch, they don't meddle with that. If the government claim they're giving free education and then they lie and start to charge the students who go in national college that they have to pay, the businessmen generally don't care about that. The ordinary man in the country is the one responsible to uphold democracy, because you do not have a strong lobby group. If they put you in jail, if it's a worker, the union could strike and demand this worker come out of jail. Otherwise, they're shutting down the country. If they put a lawyer in jail and the bar interested in them, they could lobby for them. But you, the ordinary man, the Rasta men in the country, the farmers in Maribor, you are the ordinary people. And because the government of Grenada is promoting classism, and they're using very insulting and demeaning language to fracture who is who, you are in more trouble. And it's important now that we put a charge against Deacon in the 5 categories. 5 charges. But we must get the empirical evidence on at least 12. In every category, you must have at least 12. Those who could write it down. Those who cannot write, normally your memory is very good. I know that. People who are not well lettered, they have very good memory. Try to remind them. Discuss them among yourselves. And we must give the NDC politicos an opportunity to defend the charges. They have not been defending any charge. They have been trying to intimidate individuals, starve them financially, send drones to intimidate them, and hide their face when they're speaking. There's several NDC politicos on Facebook, but they're hiding their face. They're operating with a solo name, a mask. They're shame. They cannot defend these charges. So we, the ordinary people, over the next few months, we must gather information on these charges. We may add more, we may refine them, but eventually Deacon Mitchell must be charged for being the worst leader, for spending the most money on traveling, 8 million in under 3 years. And we had a comparison, we told you, Mia Mockley spent 1.7 in 7 years. And you have a number of incidents where there are blatant corruption, acts of corruption. I may only know some, but you know about instances in your locality. So we must start to compile them and charge Dick Mitchell for inciting violence in the country. He, Dick Mitchell, Claudia Joseph, Tevin Andrew, the sister in Guelph, at least 4 of them so far I know, have committed acts, open acts, that encourages and incites violence in the country. You have heard me say repeatedly that the upsurge in crime in Grenada is the direct responsibility of Deacon Mitchell and the Attorney General acting as a catalyst for the upsurge in crime. We are hearing of several acts of corruption in the country. We need to list them down. The ordinary man have power to let nobody fool you. One man, one vote. That is why the NDC decided to do things early, hoping in the latter part of their journey you forget. We cannot afford to forget. This is the most corrupt government that ever passed in this country. So we must compile the acts of corruption. When you speak, you must speak with conviction. You must do research. You are not researching to write a paper or to give a lecture. You are researching to have the courage of your conviction. So when you speak the truth. And when truth comes in tongue, some people have to hide their face. They cannot defend it. The acts of corruption in the country is blatant. What it will do is to encourage people who was not practicing corrupt acts to practice corrupt acts. They have a view, if the priest could play, who is me? It is so widespread that it only spread. Imagine a minister gave a contract to his landlord, and the landlord gave the contract, subcontract the contract from 90,000 to 50,000. And that was done in less than 1 week. So 40,000 disappeared between the person who initially got the contract, 40,000 for himself, and the one who do the contract, 50,000. And the work was done in less than 1 week. We heard stories where one minister had over $600,000 in a bank account. We heard stories where government had to foot the bill, over $30,000, hotel bill. We heard about this corruption in National Lottery. And the whistleblower, the minister who complained, was shocked, surprised, disturbed, and unable to stomach it. Complained to the Prime Minister. Went further than that. Tried to fire one of the individuals involved in the National Lottery, biggest corruption since it started in 1979. He himself was fired. it means that the Prime Minister was complicit in it. Now these are blatant, these are the loud ones, but there are others. We heard Ron with a gracious offer. So he was fired from cabinet, but that was only to satisfy some individuals. He never leave cabinet. 100,000 is the figure we got information on. We don't know if it's more. And you know, when we speak, we're very conservative. We heard about a sweet spot. So this is a government that is prepared to use corrupt means. We were so disturbed and shocked when we hear discussion is taking place, when people speaking about the possible result of the next election. And already some people saying if we get 5 seats, we could encourage 3 more to join us so we could form the government. 2 years before the prescribed election date, individuals are already sitting down and find ways to bribe individuals that win election, to deny the ordinary man his vote. The greatest power in democracy is to ensure that the people in the constituency get the vote. They must get who they vote for. We hear the rumors coming out from the people in the electoral process, the parliamentary election office. We see the hesitancy of the Governor General of not being decisive. The writing is on the wall. The time has come for the ordinary man to take action. One of the action we could take is to try Deacon, charge Deacon, and try him in public opinion. If there is a possibility that he could be taken to the CCJ, we should do it. We don't know if they have this jurisdiction, but it could even be taken for reference, so that history would record that the ordinary people in Grenada did everything possible to preserve the democratic process. Deacon Mitchell must be tried, must be charged and tried in the opinion of the public. And I listed 5 charges: inciting violence in Grenada. No leader in Grenada should incite violence. History tells you that is not a good thing. Too much violence and blood was shed in Grenada. Governor Ninian Home, the Federal Rebellion, the execution of federal generals. Over 10,000 Grenadians left Grenada and made for Trinidad after the Federal Rebellion. That is why Grenadians like to say they start Carnival in Trinidad. And it could well be that there is some merit in what they say. Because Trinidad Parang is seriously influenced by the Spanish, and the Carnival is seriously influenced by the French. So it could well be it was a massive influx of Grenadians that contribute to the germination, the propagation, and the growth of Carnival in Trinidad. During the revolution, the people who were affected most was the ordinary man. They were locked up and thrown in jail. The unions, the members of the union was not seriously affected. One or two of the low-key members was arrested, but not in any significant way for them to bother. Remember, the union seek their own interests. The union don't have to say nothing if things going wrong. They don't have to care about who are not the members. That is why they were so low-keyed. When the women and men was fired from Carriacou and Grenada, Chester Humphrey, one have to applaud him for that, join them to bring redress to those who lost their job. And although it was not a complete or satisfactory redress, but when you pour sometimes half a loaf, better than nothing at all. You can't wait. You don't have the time. You don't have the money to fight for a loaf. So when Dicknin is very arrogant and insulting manner, tell them take lawyer and go to court. He knew well that these people can't pay lawyers. He knew very well. So I always want to applaud Chess, one of the best trade union leaders in Grenada. He represented in the Caribbean with distinction. One always have to remember that. Irrespective of what you say about him, he served with passion. Today in Grenada, we must not tolerate no more the government that we have. People say, what will you do? The Prime Minister must be charged and tried in public opinion. That is the power the ordinary men have. They must be given an opportunity to defend themselves in the public opinion, and then you will be the judge. Corruption, a third party directing our foreign policy. This one perhaps is the most significant, because we don't know to what depth, what crimes have been committed. Because you expect each country to seek its interests. We well aware that sometimes they have to demolate between the superpowers. We well aware sometimes we are pawns. That's why we try to work with CARICOM to strengthen our voice in the foreign marketplace. But who is the third party? What they stand for? What is the philosophy? Are they in the interest of this country? Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Welcome. Now, Mr. Pierre, you are talking, and all what you're saying about democracy, theoretically, is true. But practically, right, it is very hard to get perfect democracy in any country on this planet. This material world is not a perfect world. It is the prison of God's creation. And there is no perfection in a prison. A prison is a place for rehabilitation. That's what we are doing here. That's why God put his manuals, the scriptures, all scriptures. Quran, Vedas, Bible, Kabbalah, Book of Mormon, all scriptures and spiritual culture, any part of this planet is for man to change their ways generally. So no politician cannot make it perfect. There is no perfection here. Here is prison. Man has to serve God. And it doesn't matter what religion you choose to serve him in. obey the scriptures. That is the highest platform for men liberation. Okay? Jerry have done much. They beat up Morris. Well, that was violence. Jeremiah Richardson, Harry, all of them dead. What that was? Violence. Michel have his own sense of violence. You hear me? Look what you do, teachers. That is violence. Take the money from them. That is violence. And in front of Christmas, they can't have none of their relatives who may have been unemployed. That is violence. Right? Victor Michel now come. He doesn't have a good 4 years yet. Look how you're coming down on him. I'm not saying what you're saying, they may be cute. But man is young. I find he's trying well. Miss Pierre need to educate herself more politically. She's not qualified to be a prime minister in this country. She can't be. You hear me? She can't be. She don't qualify to be that. If I tell you what she did to me personally, with her little son, I fall in love with the little boy. The way he was so respectful and asked him, where's the mother? It's a minister. By the time she finished the minister, the car here to pick him up, right in front of me there. And I did so like this lady. Used to be telling I sing the wrong party. Right? And when I saw she do that day, she called me like piece and dance and grabbed she and put him in the car if I were ready to kill him. I was shocked and surprised. I go over the journey in the Granville Credit Union to shake her hand when she won. Congratulate you now. We nearly fall along in the journey. She could have fallen, I could have fallen. And after that, when power got into her head, what does she do? It shocked me.
Jeremiah Richardson's death was not political. You know that?
What you are saying now?
Jeremiah Richardson's death was not, he did not die because of politics.
Well, I may accept that.
Maurice Bishop and them make it a political issue. But the young boy did not die because of politics.
Okay.
And we have to be, and we all of us agree that there is no perfect system. But if you want good politicians, you have to ensure that they walk the straight and narrow. And that is why I'm saying the ordinary man in the country have an opportunity to salvage some level of decency from Dick Mitchell. If they don't, and he become a monster, they have only themselves to blame. Yes, scholar, thank you. If you don't, and you let Dick Mitchell become a monster, you cannot blame anybody. In 2 years, Deacon has told more lies than all other political leaders put together in Grenada since 1967. Deacon Mitchell is the only politician in Grenada in our history. Yes, scholar, welcome.
I cut off, I don't know why.
I don't know. Yes, I was saying, I don't know if you heard the last part of us saying, we have an opportunity to salvage Deacon. We are convinced he's going on the wrong path. What is the justification Deacon have for telling all these lies?
I can justify anything about lying. I don't find Deacon is lying.
Well, maybe you need to.
Bishop.
So that is why. How do you respond? How do you respond to the word classless, commoners, beggy? How do you respond to a political leader advocating that?
Advocating what? I need to gather the question.
Okay.
I want to gather. I want to answer you.
The Prime Minister of Grenada said the only reason the others getting help is because we don't know who the real yellow is. You agree with that?
Well, yes, you would never know everything perfectly.
So you agree that the Prime Minister in a public meeting making that statement?
Well, yes, as I said.
Who do you think? Color.
Yeah.
When he said that, who was he referring to?
Well, to Grenadians, everybody.
The others was referring to NNP supporters.
Well, perhaps yes.
And you agree with that, Color?
No, I wouldn't agree.
Color, you agree with the government of Grenada removing the $150 from the elderly after they promised them $650?
No, I will not agree.
Color, do you agree? Color, do you agree with the Prime Minister playing with a weed tree and making it a movie when the weed is not legal?
Well, I don't have evidence of these things.
Yeah, all right. Maybe let's see. Color, do you agree the Prime Minister of Grenada flaunting the law in the Grenada Development Bank and giving loan to directors and ministers of government?
If that is true, I wouldn't agree with that.
Color, do you agree that we should have a third party directing our foreign policy?
If that is true, I will not agree with that.
Color, do you agree that there are several senior members of the NDC selling passport in the CBI program, and then who will verify these things if the government ministers are agents? Do you agree with that?
Well, I will not agree with wrong.
Color, those workers in Karakou and Grenada that was fired from the 5th of July, letters start coming out firing these workers because they claim they were wearing green. Do you agree with that, Color?
Miss Bain Thomas, Mr. Thompson.
Color, do you agree with that?
The immigration of...
Color, do you agree with Ditton taking this action?
I told earlier I would not agree with wrong.
Color, come on. We can close the eyes. Remember what the revolution did to the Rastas. 300 of them was in jail. And they take advantage of them, you know. Color, you notice we ain't speaking about what they do to the women. You know, you was in tongue too. So there are some things you and I, we have to lead the ordinary people. Both of us are ordinary folks. And we were in tongue long. So we know. You don't find we must lead the ordinary people? You're not the Color? Yes. Yeah. You don't find we must lead the ordinary people? We're not afraid nobody. We're in tongue long.
I ain't afraid nobody.
Right. So when people... Color,
I'm not a coward. I prepare to die.
We don't have to die. We ain't no dying thing in this thing. We don't have to die. But Color, when you ask Ditton and them question, you notice they're not answering you?
Well, everybody has their strategies.
Do you agree with them using drones to intimidate Jenny Simon?
If this is true, this is wrong.
Well, yes, it's a lot of things wrong. So how are we going to know if it is complete true? They have to answer. Because you see, we've been playing what they say. We have it on social media, we keep it. We showed among the senior members of government with yellow, holding up Ditton, nurses, people in finance, teachers, while he fired low-rank supernumeraries. Do you agree with that, Color?
As I tell you, if those things are true, I will not agree.
You didn't hear the shout and cry of Shirley and Robinson. You must know. You must know. No, I think in all fairness, Color.
Shirley and Robinson, that name is new to me. First time I heard that name.
All right, okay. Well, I'll have to you have to listen to us some more, so we could
I'm listening, but
particularly on Fridays. Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of propaganda out there too.
Well, we speak the truth. I promise not to participate in propaganda. And when I walk in town, truth come down in town. And I encourage people, if I say something that is not the truth, correct me. Because I don't have a script speaking. I speak spontaneous. And I don't have to try to remember what I say yesterday. When you speak in the truth, you don't remember what you say yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I love to hear how you just chat, but I know propaganda.
When you're accustomed with me with this chat, a long time we don't talk on other issues. I would have liked to talk on the spiritual realm too.
Yeah, well, that is right to talk. That's where I am.
One of these days, I would have to love to get you on the spiritual realm.
Correct.
Thank you, brother.
I really love that.
Thank you.
So, one of these good days,
Yes,
when
yeah, my brother. We have to do it. In yesteryear, you had grievance officers in the village. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Pierre,
Yes, my brother.
I appreciate you speaking this morning. I'd like to ask you one question. What lie you tell her this morning? I'm sure I hear you tell more than 10 lies already this morning. Anyhow, then I tell you.
Yeah, let her go, man. Yeah, make it some point.
Let me and I believe there is demand for the job. There is demand for the job, and you continue to do it. Pierre, you talk about corruption in this country. Pierre, you should put your head in a bag and hide your head in a.
But see, caller, let me say something to you. Even if there was corruption around doing in the past, when you bring a government, you want the government to do better. Otherwise, where are we going to go? If the neighbor's son behaves badly, and neighbor come to you say, look at what your son doing, you're going to say 40 years ago your son used to do that too? Caller?
And Pierre, them is the two worst persons who rule this country, the government in this country. Pierre, they take $17 million from the marketing board. They bankrupt the marketing board. Up to today, taxpayers have to pay what $17 million. And you talk about corruption. That's the most corrupt government ever passed in this country.
Okay, thank you, caller. You know, we have to hold this discussion. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, after him, Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, next month, we'll make it 1 year since burial destroyed 99 point.
Burial came in June?
Oh.
What time burial passed?
July 1.
What time burial passed?
July 1.
Well, not
either June or June.
Well, next month is June.
In the month, yeah, and the month of June, somebody.
In the next several weeks.
And I want my heart to goes out to the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. They are regarding the home destroyed. The government get money, $180 million to help the people.
180 or 118?
118 million dollars to help to develop, to build back the people home in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Look at the situation with the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. The people right now in that condition cannot face a next hurricane again. Right? I want to say to the government, this is wickedness. That you no longer going to with people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. You need to get money to help them to build back their home. And you refuse to help them build back their home. Instead of to help them build back their home, you build back for your friends and the business place to spread the propaganda. My heart goes out to the people of Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique. What I'm saying, Mr. Pierre, again, this government, they don't care about people, the people that need to help and to assist.
So, call the five charges.
They don't care about you. I want to say to the Ghanaian people, they will come wrong as the election get close and pretend to you that they care about you. Well, I always want you to remember how they treat you, how they consider you. They consider you know like they could do what they want.
But some men they promise to treat you better.
Election, they will come and bribe you with something and say they do in the fair. But remember what they do to you and what they continue to do to the poor people of Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique, making their life more miserable. Mr. Pierre, I want to say to the people going to carry Matic, stand strong. Hope is on the way. When
And
the color MP win, your home will restore back. We restore back. Mr. Pierre, have a blessing.
And I also want to encourage you. It's good. We put in 5 charges against Dick Mitchell. And you, a regular caller on the radio, must get the empirical evidence, compile them. So when we accuse Dick Mitchell of inciting violence in the country, we have the evidence. Empirical evidence that the NDC cannot challenge. When we speak about corruption, you could rattle out corruption acts that have been taking place. Because I may not know what happened in every creek and corner in the country. When we talk about third party directing our foreign policy, you must know what we talk about, and we must point out incidents or instances when it doesn't seem that the government is in charge. When pathological and compulsive lies, this one is as easy as kissing hand. And we must know when the government squandered public funds. Because if we continue in that trajectory, the economy will go in free fall again. And remember, when the economy went in free fall, between 2008 2013, over $110 million unpaid claim in the treasury. Government sold 13 pieces of property to meet current expenditure. Government sold that which did not belong to the government. Government sold shares they did not have the legal authority to sell. And government was not able to pay NIS the money they deducted from the workers in the country. The economy definitely was in free fall. This is the consequences. If we, the ordinary people, who do not have people to lobby on our behalf, if we do not take the necessary action, we are the ones who would stand the consequences. Your government going to come in and lower the tax threshold, and you will be worse off. Government going to cut social program as usual. That's what the NDC does. NDC remain about 12 years in government. I think that is the 4th time and 3rd time. Every time they go in government, the economy deteriorates. Unemployment rise. They create more debt. Every time NDC in government, there is nothing to brag about. You can't brag about cutting on Belleville and Nutmeg. You can't brag about digging up around the lake and planting organic banana for Salisbury. Can't brag about that. You can't brag about the government telling lies and declare the Market and National Importing Board. You cannot brag about these things. So, as we close, we want individuals to remember that we put 5 charges against Deacon. And we must collect the necessary evidence, empirical evidence that they cannot challenge. And we must try the most corrupt leader that ever come in Grenada. We back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And remember, on Friday, we have a barbecue and bingo in the village of Paraclet. Thank you very much.
It's your chance, come take the mic. 442 Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis